Live as if today is the last day of your life. There's no tomorrow. That means if you gotta say thank you to somebody, you have to apologize, you have to send love, you have to make love, whatever you need to do, do it. I was depressed at the age of 40. That was a time that I sold the business. But I said, I'm not gonna stop. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'm going through this. It was day 23. There was no sign of depression. It was just an unbelievable joy, ecstasy. I was out of the woods.
When I went to India, the monks said, let the tiger devour you, meaning you gotta feel your emotions, feel all of them, but don't stay there more than 10 minutes.
I did it 23 days in a row.
How did you do that? Hi and welcome to the show. This is your host Orion. Thank you so much for being here. And if you are a long-time listener, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. Today I have with me Aslan Mirkalami. He's a high-performance coach, author, and entrepreneur specializing in neuro-linguistic programming and mindset transformation. Aslan and I have been friends for years now, and I admire his personal self-development journey, traveling to exotic places, experiencing things like long fasts and darkness retreats, and all kinds of crazy things that he does to become his best self. Aslan believes that everything that happens in your life, from your career to your love life, can be controlled and affected by your belief system. If you are struggling with your relationship, career, finances, lifestyle, whatever, this is the episode for you. And now, without further ado, on to the show. Hi, Aslan, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Orion. I'm really happy to be here and lovely to be with you.
Yes, you too. I mean, we've known each other for a while now, and I haven't seen you in a long time. And I know that you've been through so many adventures. And I can't wait for this conversation to unfold because you are a fascinating man. Before we begin, maybe you can share a childhood memory that is beautiful with me.
Well, my childhood has been an interesting one. I was the firstborn in a very like a lower middle class, and I was born in Iran. My mom and dad, I remember, they used to rent a room in a house where the washroom was 2 story down in the yard, in the backyard, and and our home, the upstairs room, there was backing right into the railroad station. So every time that there was a train passing by, the whole building was shaken. To me, I remember this home to be so big. And just last year or a couple of years ago, I went to visit my mom. And I said, Mom, is that home still there? She says, Yeah, that home hasn't been changed. I said, Can I? I went there and it was so small. It was, I don't know if this happened to you, things that you thought it was so big. Now that you go back and it's so tiny and you say, My God, I grew up here. I was born here. And in fact, my brother was also born there. So yeah, we were born in such a humble beginning. I was born in Iran, of course, and I grew up in Iran. My dad was a rug dealer, carpet dealer, and he had a carpet shop for him, the most important thing was education. So he was very adamant that I become educated. And so I would go back from school to his shop and sit and behind his desk and do my homework, and he would do his business. But I was listening to what he does, how he talks, who he talks to. And then there were visitors coming and they would be talking politics, they would be talking economy. And I was learning from a very young age all these adult things. And but I had big dreams. I always had much bigger dreams than my peers. I didn't want to stay in Iran. I was thinking, I remember I saw a movie. It was about Niagara Falls. A couple fell in love. They went for a honeymoon. I don't remember the name of the movie, but I remember it was Niagara Falls. And it was all about Niagara Falls, how beautiful it is. It was like as if they made this movie as a promotional package for Niagara Falls hotels. So, and I was like, I fell in love. And I said, one day I'm going to go to Niagara Falls. And it wasn't very long after, maybe 8 or 10 years later, I was here and I was visiting Niagara Falls. I couldn't believe that dream came true. That brings us to whatever is in our life has really been a dream of ours, or we've been dreaming or thinking about it a while back. And the unconscious mind buys into it and bites into it. And once the unconscious mind buys into it, you're done. You're living what your unconscious mind wants you to be living, or it's what you have in your life is exactly what you wanted unconsciously, and maybe with a little bit of time delay, because there's a time capsule that, yeah, this was yesterday's dream, and today's dreams are going to be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
Yes. So you moved to Canada, right? And
I moved to Germany first. I lived in Germany for a couple of years, and then I moved to Canada after that.
right. And then you opened your own business.
Yeah, I came to Canada. Something happened when I was in Germany. I was actually I was so naive. Uh, I did a transaction with a guy, and he basically screwed me over, took my money, and I had no money, and I had to really, in a hurry, go find it. But at the same time, I was very lucky, naive and lucky. Not a bad combination, I could say. And so I found a job. I found a job, but I rented a place. I paid everything, and I was down to maybe 5 German marks at the time. And this guy gave me, my employer was a shopkeeper, a carpet shopkeeper, which I knew everything about because my dad was in that business. And he gave me 20 German marks, and he said to me, uh, here's a receipt for my shirts. Go get them from the dry cleaner. And I was trying to also very fast track learning German. So I went and I asked him, in German, how much is this? Was kostet? And he said, 3 German marks, and here is the return of 17 marks. I thought the opposite because I was so happy that I even understood. But I understood in a reverse order. I am a little bit of dyslexic, not this little bit. Actually, I'm extreme dyslexic. So I reversed, understood it. And I came back and the guy says, how much was it? I said, 17 marks. And here's your shit. And then the guy jumps off his seat as a seat and then said, grabs him by the hand, says, somebody is not being honest here. Let's go. And he's dragging me to the dry cleaner. And I'm shocked. I don't understand what's going on. And then I stopped him. I said, let's count the money. I count the money as 17 marks. He says, oh, okay. He kind of brushes it off. And I go home that night. And I'm home. I'm sitting in a corner of my room. And I cannot stop. My tears are coming. I'm not crying. My tears are coming. And I'm all wet on my shirt. And I'm saying to myself, this guy thought I'm stealing from him. And it's been like a dagger in my heart. And I said, oh my God, this will never happen again. I decided that night I'll never be an employee again. And that was the last employer I ever had. That was him. So after that, I came to Canada. And by the time I made it to Canada, I had like $700 left in my pocket. I wanted to start a business. And everybody thought I'm crazy. I was in the middle of the winter. And it was actually the coldest winter ever in Canada. It's called the Storm of the Century in 1987. It was like, I arrived, first I went to Vancouver. I didn't like it. I came back to Toronto. I was right in the middle of the Storm of the Century, and I wanted to start a business. And someone introduced me a very beautiful man a Armenian from Turkey. Um, and I went to see him. I said, so and so, send me here. Oh, very nice. He said, let me buy you a coffee. He took me to a coffee shop here. And we were sitting. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to start my own business. And he goes, oh, you must have a lot of money to start a business, not even arrived. I said, well, not really. He goes, how much money do you have? I said, $750. And he thinks I'm talking $750,000. And he says, oh, you know what? With that kind of money, you'd be stupid to start a business. I would buy the building I'm in. They're selling it. I can help you. You buy it, I'll be your tenant. There'll be 10 other tenants. You make so much money, and then you can buy another one and buy another one. I said, listen, it's $750. And he goes, he almost falls off. He says, do you have a place? He goes, no, I don't have a place. Do you know English? I said, no, not yet. Do you know anybody? No. Then how do you want to do it with seven? You can't even find a place with this money. Anyway, he was very concerned. And I said, I'll start a business with this money. And I did. And, he said to me, but you don't even have a phone number. I said, well, but you do. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I'll leave a little booklet right beside your phone with a pen. If somebody called and said, wants to talk to Aslan, would you please take his name and number? And each evening I come to your office, I pick up the name and number, and I call them myself from the payphone. He kind of looked at me and said, boy, I know what's going to happen to you. It's minus 20 degrees. That was like cold. And snow was so much that the army came in. They summoned the army to come to take the snow away. It was very badly. But he says, but you know what? In my heart, I cannot say I caused you not to do this. I want to do it for you. And he became my secretary. So,
What? That's
yeah, he is
amazing.
an amazing. I love him. I love that man. I owe him my success. A part of my success comes from him because he actually did that diligently. So I would walk because I didn't have the money to even pay for bus or bus passes. So I would walk from business to business, and I printed some business card. I would give them a business card, tell them what I do, and then if they needed one, they called, and then he would tell me, and he would give me their name and number. I'd call them, make an appointment, go see them, and make business happen. And that's slowly, I started that business, and then once I got grounding, I started getting traction, and business start growing. And
What type of business was it?
it was a rug business. It was my dad's business. And the good thing was that I grew up in his business because he wanted me to study. He wanted to make sure I do my homework. So he go back to his shop after the school. And I was learning everything there was to learn about that business. So I started that, and I became a retailer. I started a retail rug business, and I started another shop. And I started one in America. I started one in Chicago. And in Chicago, uh, I had people work for me there, and I would go and visit different stores. One time I was in Chicago. It was a place called Waukegan. It's a suburb of Chicago. And we had an insurance guy. I don't remember his name, but he was selling us insurance. He was the guy. He wanted to talk to me about some policy issues and stuff like that. So I got there. He come to see me, and we were talking, and he said to me, you know what? This is just now a side gig for me. I'm making more money online than this. I said, oh, what are you doing online that makes more money for you than your main business, which is your insurance business? He says, I'm selling golf bags. My father-in-law manufactures them, and I'm selling them, and I'm putting them on eBay and selling them. This was 1999. I said, you put 1998 or 1999. I said, you put them on eBay and sell them. He goes, what is eBay? He goes, let me show you. He goes, on my computer connected to internet, and he goes to this place, eBay, and oh, and I see he's selling golf bags. I said, do you think we can sell rugs on this? He says, yeah, I think so. We are like rugs. And it just came, oh yeah, they're selling rugs. I said, you know what? I'll sell. I went immediately to Office Max, bought a camera, bought a digital camera, came, took some pictures of 3 rugs, and then on my trip back to Toronto, I found a guy who actually posted them on eBay, and we sold all 3 of them at a profit margin. And I decided, okay, I just think I know what my next step in my business is going to be. So I closed those businesses within 4 months. Within 4 months, I told everybody, you guys are better looking for a job. I opened up an office with my sister, and we started an e-commerce company called rugman.com. That company went to be the largest, basically, rug site for many years until I finally sold it at 2013, but it started in 1999. And yeah, that's how I transformed from retailer to be an e-tailer. And then we shipped to many countries, 46 countries I was shipping, and including China, Israel, Spain, everywhere, Europe, all United, mainly United States. 90% of my sales were to US, and only 4 or 5% was to Canada, and the rest of the 4 or 5%, which was very nice, and it allowed me also. And it's very interesting that how you put your dreams and it comes to your life. I was very busy. I was working. I had multiple locations, and in my retail business, main time of retail was weekend. So I was working every Saturday, Sunday. And sometimes I would go home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I was so tired I'd pass out. And I never really was able to be with my family. And I was at Tony Robbins' event before that, a year before, a couple of years before. I was at Tony Robbins' event, and you know how they tell you at the Date with Destiny. At that time, it wasn't Date with Destiny; it was something else. So Life Mastery, and it was a much more 10 days or something, much more intense. And I was, they said find a partner that you're going to be partner, and I couldn't find a partner, and another guy couldn't find a partner too, and his name is Jeff. I remember that, and he was a guy from California. He had a golf magazine with his wife, and they were running this golf magazine from their garage in their home in California, and it was doing well. So we became partner, just assigned because he was the only one. I was. Universe brought us together, and I told Jeff, that I really my dream is to be able to be spending more time with my family, a lot more time. And he was so good. He told me, Aslan, stop lying to yourself. I said, why? He says, you don't want to be with your family. You're avoiding them. I said, no, I'm not. He goes, yeah. If you didn't, you wouldn't be living in Toronto, have a business in Montreal, Chicago, and so you would be having a business very close to your home, like me. My home is and my business are walking distance. Like I could just take 10 steps and I'll be in my business in the garage. And I'm always with my kids. I'm always with my wife, and we are best friends. Oh my God, that little truth. You know, I sometimes God sends you some people to tell you the truth about you that you're not willing to tell yourself. And this truth, this piece of information he gave me, it changed my life. And that was the time that right away after that, it was in September, and I met this insurance guy in October. And by January, I had closed every location. And I opened up the office and I started this business of rugman.com, which has a story of its own. It didn't become successful day one. It took a year in order, even 1 year, we sold one rug, one piece of garbage. We didn't know how to do this. We built a website, and the website was just, then finally I kind of got hold of it. I started attending some conferences and e-commerce conferences, and I said, oh, this is what we're making. So I just became basically more and more involved in the community, and before you know, we became the largest e-commerce site for rugs, and we made hundreds of thousands of sales, millions of dollars in revenue, and multiple millions, and tens of millions.
So after the conversation with Jeff, what happened with your relationship with your family? Were you more present for them? Well, what changed?
First of all, I was living 15 minutes drive from my home. My office was 15 minutes drive. I was always at 5 o'clock at home. Office closed at 5. I was home. I would eat dinner at home, every dinner, spend time with the kids every Saturday, Sunday. And then, of course, as we made a lot more money through this business, um, we start traveling together. Every 3 months, I would take them to a place. I'd take 10 days off. Like on Thursday night, I'll take off and we come back Sunday week after, which is about 10 days. And that would be every 3 months. We would go someplace. We'd go here, there, Europe, you know. And it's not, I mean, when you travel across time zones, it's not much, but it is better than nothing.
No, I'm sure it's wonderful. Yeah. And then so what shifted from the guy that sold his company, the successful businessman, the one that never has given up? What changed into this, making that switch into becoming a leader, I mean, you were a leader in your business, but a leader like taking that knowledge, I guess, from business, but also how did you get into the whole world of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and helping people?
That's a little long story. When I was 14 years old, I was dyslexic and I had ADHD. I don't know, nobody diagnosed me properly, but anyway, I was not able to study. I was failing in my study, and my dad was devastated. This was his dream. I mean, I wanted me to be educated, and my numbers, my fail rate, he had hired private teachers, nothing worked. And then um, my mom knew a man in Iran. Today's would be a super coach, like an unbelievable coach. Um, and his method was limited to only hypnosis and some spiritual practices, but he was very famous and he had written a couple of books and was having a following in Iran. And my mom took me to her. He was, quite a bit of money at the time, but within 2 weeks of me going there, I could now put my mind together. I could focus. I started studying and went straight to the top of my class, and I couldn't believe it. I was shocked that what I was struggling with so hard was so in my reach, and he didn't do anything. He didn't teach me. He didn't sit and do a study with me. He just worked on what was here happening. And I was just, boom.
Only hypnosis?
He taught me self-hypnosis. He taught me, and also a few sessions. And I told my mom, I want to learn this. And my mom said, okay, I'll buy the books. She bought the books. I read the books. And now I'm reading the books and I'm hypnotizing anybody I can get my hands on. It was so funny. My mom, I tried on my dad. My dad was didn't like it. So my brothers and family, everybody. So I was Aslan the hypnotist from the age of 14. And then I also took courses for them. I took courses from him and his students.
What is something that he told you that stuck in your mind and can be really helpful for somebody who's listening right now?
You know what? When I went to see him, I had this giant problem. Okay. He said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I don't know. I can't study. No matter what I try, really hard. I can't do it. I'm failing in the school." And for him, it was this. He says, "Ah, that's nothing. In 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be coming and you'll be showing off your marks to me." And I was like, "How? Show me." And then, of course, the proof was in the pudding. And very shortly, and this is exactly I'm doing right now. Actually, I'm going to talk about something that a new passion of mine, uh, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe my eyes. So I took this very seriously. I learned everything there was to learn from him, and I practiced. I practiced to everybody. I was trying to help people, even with my own thing. And then this became a thing. So, and when I came to Canada, I called a hypnosis association. They had an office in Calgary, and I talked to them on the phone. I said, "I have done these trainings, and I want to do further." And he said, "Are you a doctor?" I said, "No." "Oh, we only train doctors." I said, "Why?" "Oh, because this is not for everybody. It's for only doctors."
Not only that, they allow, like, if you're a dentist and you're a doctor, then you're good. Doesn't matter you don't have any psychology background. If you're a doctor but a dentist, then you're allowed to
Doctor,
do.
dentist, psychologist, yes, you were allowed to. But this changed later, by the way.
Not every, like me, I do hypnosis too. So, like, there are some states that are allowing that if you're not a doctor, and some it depends on the place and how uptight the authorities are around this.
Yeah. So at that moment, I decided I'm gonna do. I didn't know. I got to Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins kept on mentioning NLP and this and that. I said, okay, I'm going to learn NLP. So in 1992, um, I went to a seminar with the founder,
With Bandler?
not Bandler, sorry, Grindler,
Okay.
Grindler, and I was in his last seminar, which was in Los Angeles, sponsored by a gentleman from there, LA, and and it was a 3 day workshop that I was absolutely blown away. I remember every word came out of his mouth, even today, which is very rare because I don't have a good memory, but I remember everything. And and then I started my journey with the NLP, and I became a trainer. I mean, practitioner, master practitioner, trainer, and then I went through that program. I went with Tad James. I went with the Richard Bandler, the same thing. I went practitioner, master practitioner, and then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go back to Grindler, and I've done it about 3 or 4 times, and then I did other trainings, many trainings. I did um, something called neuro-hypnotic repatterning with Richard Bandler. I did it many times. I did human design engineering, and I did holodynamics. I did Psyche and many others. It's like I can fill up a room with my certificates are this much. And then I just found out they're all doing the same thing. This is the beautiful part about when you do multiple things, they're all doing the same thing. Basically, aligning your conscious and unconscious mind. And with this alignment happens, magic happens. When there is, because we always have conflicts. Like your mind your conscious mind goes here, your unconscious mind going here. And always the unconscious mind wins. You can influence it a little bit, but the general direction is the unconscious mind. In fact, it brings me to my book title. My last book was this is the title of my last book.
You can say it.
Yeah, and
For our audience, it's your
un-
life.
unfuck your life,
Yes.
unfuck your life, and it's because In a consciously, we are fucked. We might want anything we want to, but whatever you want, it doesn't matter. Whatever the unconscious mind wants matters, because it's something around 60 to maybe 100,000 times more powerful in manifestation. So when do you have this agreement? You have, oh my God, you have the whole universe in the palm of your hand. That's how I create massive transformation in people. People come to me and they change profoundly. And the only reason is because I have now understood how to do this, to create this complete alignment, that where the conscious mind wants to go is now a mission and a vision for the unconscious mind.
What are some practical tools you can share with us?
Well, anybody has possibility of using pendulum. Okay, uh, you hold a pendulum, or any. I don't have a pendulum here, unfortunately. I would have been prepared for it. You can hold one, or it can even could be a tea bag. Just needs a string and a weight that you can hold, and then you can say, "Show me a yes," and show me a no, and you'll see the pattern on this pendulum will change. So yes, like goes this way, no goes this way, or the other, or go around. So once you calibrate yes and no, now you're tapping into the unconscious mind and you start asking questions. You can say, you can say, you can ask your beliefs. Do I believe I'm worthy of this? Do I believe I deserve this? Or do I believe this? You can say that. You can ask those. You can research. You can use it as a research tool, which is digging into your unconscious mind, because whatever it believes and whatever the direction it wants to go, you're done. You're going along.
What happens when you are like, okay, this is what makes me stuck? How can one unstuck that? So you did the thing with the pendulum. It says, yes, you have a fear of rejection. Now what? How do you work on that?
Well, then you ask, is there a purpose for this fear of rejection? Because they say, road to hell is paved with good intention. The intentions are always good, but the act may not be good, may not be positive, and the act is the one we're dealing with. So we say, is there a positive intention for this? And the intention is yes. Always, often, the answer is yes. And then you say, can you find a better way, more ecological way to achieve your intention? And then the unconscious mind, if it says yes, then you say, go ahead, do it right now. And then will you take responsibility of maintaining this behavior, maintaining this new set of behaviors for the rest of my life? And the unconscious mind says, yes, you're done. The shift has happened. Very easy. So that alignment happens there.
That's amazing. I have pendulums, but I never thought about inquiring my subconscious mind with pendulums. That's awesome.
Oh, that's one benefit of spending $2 million on learning these things. It's like you learn it so many different ways. You realize, oh my God, they're all doing the same thing. I'm a pig-headed tick skull, and very stubborn. So, but I learned it the hard way, and then I got couples, and a couple came to me and said, you know, we don't want to divorce. We've been 40 years together, and we're fighting like cats and dogs. I said, okay, let's work, and I work with you first, and I work with the husband, and then we work together. And I said, okay. And in that session, working with her, I kind of discovered there's a distraction here. And that was very interesting. I said, okay, tell me about past love life. Oh, and she goes, oh, yeah, I was totally in love. She was in the Air Force, and she had this boyfriend, lover, that they had an incredible love affair. And then all of a sudden, this other guy comes into his life, and he seriously wants to marry her. And she is saying to him, "Listen, I got to make a decision. I have a boy. I have a man who wants to marry me. What do you?" And she goes, "No, no, no, I'm not serious." And it's just, "No, no, go." And then, so she goes and marries her husband. They have two kids together. They live 40 years together, and 40 miserable years it's been. And the only reason why I accepted them because they had energy. They were fighting. If they stopped fighting, I wouldn't have worked with them. So the minute I found out there is her heart is already taken by a previous relationship, I said, okay, well, I have to I have to empty that. So I did that, and it's a long story, that one. And then now all of a sudden she was available.
How did you do it? What did you tell her?
It's a little bit sophisticated and complicated. There's a strategy of falling in love, and there's a strategy of falling out of love, and we basically do it in our mind, and you can basically produce it. I can produce it, but there's a natural way. You fall in love. There's a strategy for it, and falling out of love is a naturally, and then and then but it can be accelerated and it can be done in a couple of hours or half an hour or something. And so I run the strategy of falling out of love with the old guy and falling in love with the existing husband, and then talk to the husband. Found out exact same thing was in the opposite side. He was just wanted to marry her to revenge from a lover that was totally
Oh
bad.
no, that's
I did.
terrible.
I did that. I listen to this. I did that too. And then now all of a sudden they're sitting across the table, which I mean they sit, and then I put it together. And he came back to me and said, "I don't know what the fuck you did, but we've had sex like never before, and I made breakfast for my wife, and she's now ironing my clothes. She's never done this in the past. She threw all my clothes out, and she went and bought brand new clothes for me." And they went on 2 weeks or 4 weeks or something like on a tour after that, and it took only 3 sessions.
What's the strategy of falling in love?
When you fall in love with somebody, when you're in love with somebody, you don't see or you minimize their faults and you maximize their positive, because we all have good, bad, ugly. Nobody is perfect, but you don't see their imperfections. You just, yeah, and then you see, and when you're falling out of love, those things come, and these things become major. No, 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 no. You didn't wash the dishes. Right? There's a little stain here. Okay, now come on. Oh, you threw your socks on the floor, and that's a strategy for going out of love. And anyway, that's coming back to this. I decided, if there's another couple, I would probe for this. So after that, I had another couple, another couple, another couple, another couple. I was like, universe sends you when you ask for something. I don't know. I'm like that. I don't know if you're like that. When I desire something, it shows up right at the door. And so I had couples, and I did exact same process. Just found out, oh yeah, you still have a crush on somebody. Get it out, and then okay, now the same. You get it out, and now bring these two together, and boom, fall in love. I did. I've had none of the couples I work with. They have been coming back saying. I mean, oh, I had one divorce. They decided, okay, we're done, and peacefully they divorced, stopped fighting. I only took people. They had energy, means they were fighting. They had they were hostile towards each other, and turned that into a love affair. The more they fight, the more fiery, and the more, yeah, it's amazing.
What happens when people stop fighting? They just give up on themselves. If you see a couple that, what does it mean when a couple doesn't fight at all?
They basically they've cut the cord. They either started another relationship, and both of them have to be not in a third or secondary relationship. They have to be there. They have to be. fighting. They're fighting for their relationship. That's a good sign. That's a wonderful sign. The fact that they're fighting with each other, that means there's a misdirected energy. And that energy is like the fire that's burning the house. But there is fire in this house. Now I need to warm up the house with this fire. And it's wonderful. It feels amazing. Yeah. And then I had a gentleman call me. He was a very wealthy man, had casinos and investment in casino business and stuff like that in Mexico and here in Canada, and 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 he brought me. He said, My son has dropped out of the university. He's having fights with his mother and his brother. He hates us all. He's got trouble with the law, and he's got like you know blah blah blah. Anyway, whole bunch of things, and I want you to see if you can talk to him. Sure, sure, sure. Bring him over. And I start talking to him, and basically I realized that all he wants to be loved by his parents, and he misses that family feeling. So anyway, and I just working with him and creating these alignments that I was telling you, these alignments. And then before you know, this kid goes and he dropped under year 3. It means he had to finish the 3rd year and 4th year. And he found out all his necessary unit that he was finishing. He finished them in 3 months.
Wow, amazing.
With marks way out of the park, 90, 95%. It was the top of the class. And then he goes straight working with his dad. He takes over a department. They were designing games like jackpots, and they had a basically a department that they were designing these machines and they were producing them. And he takes over that department, and he does such a good job. I think currently is running the entire company, and the dad is kind of backs it. Yeah. And then the next thing I know, he has all his friends asking, "What the hell happened to your son?" And he sent me many, and then uh, before I know, half of my clients are these young men, and it was so like I was getting something out of it that I didn't get from the others. I was getting a lot, and I'm helping other people to come to this mindset. I really get a lot out of it, but I was getting something totally different from these. I started saying, I'm going to charge them half price because it's not fair. I'm really enjoying this. So I started cutting the price in half, and it still was amazing. And when I basically start traveling, I had at that point, I'd half of my clients were young men, young men and women. There was this one lady. Father calls me. My daughter, I think she's depressed. I don't know what's wrong. She doesn't want to study. She um, she doesn't want to get out of bed. So would she come see me? Yeah. Okay. Let me talk to her. I talked to her on the phone. And I says, yeah, sure. If you think it's going to help, come on over. She comes, and she comes to my office, and I look at her, and I'm saying, is she still alive? Like she was like literally a dead person walking, pale, no makeup, no hairdo,
Lost all of her passion.
all of her passion for life. So I worked with her. I worked with a couple of sessions, and then she comes back for a third session, and I'm looking at her and I'm saying, everybody's in the office. There were, some people worked in the office, and they were saying, who is this gorgeous girl? I said, it's the same girl. She came 2 weeks ago. She was, no, that's not. She's never been here before.
So what was the connection that was made for her? What was the reason she had no passion, and what did you connect her with? What was the compelling future?
Yeah, yeah. I actually came up with a 4-step work that you can do, and almost every teenager, every young adult, this works for them perfectly. The number one step is getting over the past. putting it behind them. A lot of them are living it. A lot of them are traumatizing, and they're frozen, and they're basically they're not even to breathe. So the number one and the biggest job of them all is to de-traumatize them and make them being able to face their fears, face their angers, face their shames and guilts and hurts and sadness. And then once they are through with these um, downward or downdraft emotions and the past, then bring them into a envisioning and designing a future that they love to have, because they really cannot do this unless they've they've cut that off, or not cut it off, is actually transform it into something positive. At that point, they're able to now dream like a child. Oh yeah, I want this, I want this, I want that. And then, okay, you want this now. And now, uh, how do you become passionate about it? There's a strategy for that too. See, we've done it. It's every time you become passionate about something, you've done it the same way. You become passionate about it and you become motivated, passionately motivated. That has a strategy too. So I connect these strategies, and then make them motivate, and then consistent action, putting them on an accountability program with me. Every day they have to tell me, and we make it very simple. Like if if let's say the kid is a dropout, I say, okay, your commitment is going to be you're going to spend 3 hours in the library every day. And you tell me, you're going to text me every day, I spend from 3 o'clock to 6 after school in the library. Okay, good. That's good. And then I teach them a little bit of mechanics, which is the 10% or 20% of it that makes the successful. Say, listen, you go to the classroom, you study the material slightly before, and then when you come back out of the classroom, you sit down and study it truly and make sure you understand it, totally understand it. And then you do it in that 3 hours that you go to library. So and that is accountability. And all of them within a month, they were just kicking ass and taking names. And within 3 months, they don't even need me. They're already so proud of themselves, and they see results, and they're it's amazing. I get orgasm. It's crazy how I love it. I love it. It's like I see my own kids. I say, "Oh my God." And I pray sometimes. I say, God, send them somebody like me to be able to do this for them. And my kids are grown up now and they're in their 30s, uh, but they could use something like this because they hang out. Everybody hangs out to their childhood past. Oh, my mom did this to me, and my dad did this to me.
Yeah, and then if you're the mom or the dad, you're too close. I get it with my own family members where like I'll tell my mom something, like I'll give her advice, and then 10 years later somebody said something about it on TV and she's like, "Whoop, makes the switch." Like, "Mom, I told you about this for 10 years, 15 years. Why aren't you like doing that?" Well, because you're my daughter, of course. I want to repeat the process. So first you eliminate the past. So you have them go and through NLP you maybe like
All the above.
yeah.
I look at NLP and hypnosis and all that just as a tool, like a screwdriver, hammer, saw is a tool. And some people say, I'm a NLP practitioner or an NLP therapist. You know what? There's a limited things you can do with that. I mean, as I say, I'm a drywaller or I'm a screwdriver guy. So it's a tool. And when you have multiple ways of doing things and you understand what's the purpose, now everything is available.
No, I totally get it because I've studied many methodologies myself, and at the end of the day, when I connect with people, like, yeah, I'll use this as a screwdriver and this as this tool. But at the end of the day, for me, it's just like opening myself as a channel to connect to the person and have like divine wisdom just flow through me in guiding them. because I feel like everything we learn, and no matter how much money we spend on our education, it is still a drop in the bucket of wisdom and knowledge. But when you are really connected, you can affect change. And I think this is what's happening with you, because you're like, love guides you, and that love, it's connected to source, and this is what brings upon that those amazing shifts and transformations that you were talking about, because you're doing it out of passion, you're doing it out of love. And that what create, like, when the intention, because we live in a quantum, like you said, our intention brings our dreams to us. So you're when you sit with a patient and the intention is to bring healing, to affect change, it's almost like, even though they're not present, it might not be present in the same room, there is some kind of a mirror neuron that happens in both your mind and that person's mind, and all of that is connected to the matrix, the field, and then boom, the change is happening. Because I feel like when you are connected and you have the desire, that will change that person.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. All that is true. Techniques are just the tools. The intention and the openness of the heart and coming from the right place. Coming for me, my life has changed completely for the last maybe 5 years.
Yeah, let's talk about that part.
Let me tell you about myself. I was actually I have a very good mentor, and 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I was at his home, and I was spending time with him, and he told me that uh, for you, you've grown so much. He knows me for a few years, quite a few years. You've grown so much. For you to time is to totally let it go. Let go of all your fears, all your, And I said, how am I going to let it go? He says, how do you, I tried everything, and whatever is there is there. He says, you're really letting it go by inviting it and facing them off. And that depression that exists inside of you, ask it. Just so anyway, I came back to Toronto. I was traveling at the time. I was backpacking. I came to Toronto, and my sister has a apartment and had a guest suite. So I checked into this guest suite, and I locked the door. I told my sister, "Don't bother me. I'm just going to be here." So, except food and necessities, I was just sitting and inviting um, my basically the worst nightmares, my fears, my anxieties, all those one by one. It took. Uh, I became so depressed. I remember I was depressed at the age of 40, and that was a time that I sold the business and I started looking at doing coaching, and and then it was as heavy as that. But I said, I'm not going to stop. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'm going through this. I'm not, I'm not stopping. So I went sometimes day and night in the bed, sitting in my bed, not knowing is day or night, covered the windows and made it like a little dark room and a little light in the corner. And it was the day 23. I woke up. I woke up and there was no sign of depression. It was just an unbelievable um, joy, ecstasy. You cannot imagine. I was that was I was out of the I was out of the woods, and I was like feeling, where was this? How come I never experienced this? It's like I could love even Um, you know what Jesus says? Somebody slap you on the, you turn the other. I could do that after that. In fact, I don't know. I told you this story. I put it on Facebook, and some people were worried about it. Maybe I'm gone mad. I was in Argentina traveling, backpacking, and I bought a brand new phone. Just got a, uh, iPhone, a $2,000, most expensive one, the largest one, most memory and everything that loaded, and um, 2000 Canadian, of course, not American. So,
So it's much better. No.
yeah, but I'm looking for my Uber, and this kid is driving a bicycle and comes, boom, grabs my phone, and my phone is going, and the kid, I look at him, he is barely 18, and is going, yay, yay, screaming out of joy that he got my phone. And I fell on my knees and I start praying for him. I said, God, I'm giving my phone to him. I don't want any karma for this. Make it so the money that he earns from this phone changes his life out of this career to a better, more ecological, more ecological. And then there were taxis around. There were like 5 or 6 taxis around there. They run. They thought he hit me. They thought he hit me with a knife or something. And I'm on my knees and I'm praying for him. And they run over and say, Senor, Senor. And I said, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. It would lift me up. So what? I said, no, I'm praying for him. I'm praying for him. Yeah. And I went to see the police that night. I had to make a police report just in case my insurance covers it. And the police said, are you sure they took your phone? You're not upset at all. I said, oh, I don't get upset anymore. Nothing upsets me. Nothing hurts me. Nothing upsets me. Nothing. I haven't experienced any of those feelings anymore.
Wow. So at the moment you faced your darkness and you felt it completely and fully and utterly, and I don't know what other words can go with completely, but the moment you really felt it, the moment you were just, I'm not hiding from this, I'm looking at it in the eye and I'm gonna experience, when I went to India, they were the monks said, "Let the tiger devour you," meaning you gotta feel your emotions, and it's like let the tiger, like really let them feel all of them, but don't stay there more than 10 minutes.
I did it 23 days in a row.
Yeah, but you also did a darkness retreat. How did that? How did you do that? Like, why did you do that? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I did it. I did dark retreat recently.
Maybe you can explain what it is and how you got there.
It was basically, there's a place called, in Thailand, in Chiang Mai. There's
I've
a
been to
place that
Chiang Mai. I love Chiang
you've
Mai.
been to Chiang Mai.
Yeah,
Isn't it
been to
beautiful?
Thailand
Isn't it?
twice.
No,
Yeah, I love Thailand.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And in Chiang Mai, and it's called Dao Garden. Dao Garden, and is owned by a gentleman called Mantak Chia, Master Mantak Chia. I love this man. He's a very beautiful man. He is a Taoist, and he has created a complex for about 40, 50 people to keep them all in complete darkness. So there's a kind of, like a condo building with different rooms. Some people have two doubles and triples, and I had a single. And then you meditate in a total darkness. Like it's like there's not a pinch of light. If it is, it will basically cancel for 10 days in a row, and you don't eat nothing.
For 10 days, you don't eat?
Yeah, I've been fasting, water fasting many times. I just did one actually a week ago. I came out of 12-day fasting.
What? That's why you look so good. You look better than I remember you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It clears a lot.
I mean, you always look, but like seriously, you look younger than I remember you.
Thank you. Yes, yes. I feel younger. I feel more energized. And fasting, it was such a scary thing when I was the first time. I did it 12 years ago. Actually, I did with an Israeli girl called Shakti. I think she's in Israel.
All the Israelis, they go to India, they come back with weird names, and then
Yeah. And she was this beautiful, beautiful soul.
what a name, Shakti. Good on her.
Yeah, Vancouver Island. Vancouver Island. With her husband was Polish and she was from Israel.
What was his name? Bob? No, it's not Polish.
I don't remember his name. It was a nice man. And we did it, and I was cheating literally from the day third on. There was fruit gardens around. I would go take plums and berries, and one day she caught me. She says, I had some like a blackberry sticking to my lip, and I go, Aslan, tell me, what have you done? I said, nothing. He goes, have you eaten? I said, no. And I was smiling. I says, your teeth are full of blackberries. I had blackberries all in my tooth. So it's oh my God, Aslan, your pancreas is gonna get hit. You're gonna die. Don't do this to me, okay? If you're gonna do this, stop the fasting, start eating, but don't do this. So I got, oh, this is dangerous. I didn't know that. So I've done about maybe 6 times now, and as long as 2 weeks.
Is it good for men and women to fast for so long? Because I get men, but women, we have like different systems.
Yeah, everybody. It's wonderful. And next time I'm going to do 3 weeks.
Oh, no way. That's crazy.
I did 12 days. I had to stop it because I was scheduled to have a surgery on Friday. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to go into surgery with fasting.
What happens, like how, what, where, why, how, what happens when you fast for 12 days?
First 2 days, you feel a little tired. You need a little bit extra sleep. Like I sleep 12 hours. Okay. And you're tired. Third day, and you're hungry. By the way, your body reflexes to really urge food. The third day, hunger goes away and your energy goes through the roof. Like you become like I was sleeping 4 hours, 5 hours a night, and I had full energy as if I sleep 8 hours. I'm normally 8 hour guy. I need to sleep 8 hours, and just unbelievable. I I worked out the entire time. I worked out an hour a day during my stay. There's about 6th floor, 7th floor here on this building, 7th floor. I would go 10 times the floors, stairs up and down. That was my cardio, and then I would do for not to lose muscles because you want to keep your muscles and you want to lose fat. And the only way you do it, you just keep working the muscles, so the muscles are kept and the fat goes away. And I lost quite a bit of weight too. I was surprised that I didn't lose as much as I thought I would.
You know, it makes me hungry just thinking about you fasting for 12 days.
It's nothing. And I've done Vipassana. Vipassana is a meditation that you don't talk for 10 days. And that's also a very, very wonderful meditation. And, you know, yeah, it's just, yeah, life is beautiful. And you see, and you start seeing things beautiful, even in the death and destruction and everything, you see the beautiful things. And, and
So if some, you've been through a lot to get to where you are. If somebody um is right now struggling, even, just looking at the news, and like 2025 is a very intense year. I think like the last 4 or 5 years were like they're increasingly more and more intense as far as geopolitic and the AI revolution, and there's so many things that are happening at once, and people are I feel like missing groundedness, like they're not grounded. um, what would be your advice to somebody who's listening or watching and they need something?
I will have to backtrack on this a little bit, if you don't mind. We are born with two emotions, love and fear. These are the only two feelings we are born with. We love to suck our mom's nipple. We love to be tickled and played with. And we are afraid of loud noises and dropping. And these are just the two. All the other emotions, guilt, uh, joy, everything, all the other emotions, there are like a book full of them. They all are manufactured based on one of these two. They're branches. We have extended it. Our mind has expanded it, and it comes. Anything, any feelings, any emotion that you have, fear, let's say, that you have, and it ends at the fear, is going to drag you down. The fear was given to us for survival. And then when you go to survival mode, you have four responses normally people get into, which is fight, flight, freeze, and fold. These are the, you know, four F's. You get F in life. If you are afraid of the AI, if you're afraid of a war or something, we are maybe in the middle of the world war. Maybe one day they write about these years. Oh, it was the peak of the World War III. Maybe we are. We don't know that yet. And living life, I would say. Now come to advice part. Live as if today is the last day of your life. Tomorrow, there's no tomorrow. That means if you gotta say thank you to somebody, you have to apologize, you have to send love, you have to make love, whatever you need to do, do it. Don't leave it for tomorrow because maybe there is no tomorrow. And then live at the same time as if you're gonna live for eternity. Have plan, have um, you know, don't ever lose hope because our humanity has gone through multiple changes. And yes, we've had Black Plague, we've had a Spanish flu, half the population of the world is wiped out, and yet we're still here. Our humanity is still here. Now, could we end it? Yes. Some idiot, maybe in some government, could push a button that could destroy the whole world. We are counting on it. Hopefully, not that. And hopefully, not us. But we are finding our place and we are finding the right things. And we are going to be experimenting like a child in this universe. Our species are a million years old. That's the oldest. You can go maybe 50,000, maybe for some religious people, 5,000 years. But we are like a child. The universe is billions and billions, maybe trillions of years old. And there's so much knowledge which we have absolutely no idea. Our knowledge and our know how is not just a speck of a dust, doesn't even count. So just live with joy and understand that whatever you're taking serious today, tomorrow will be not important. I mean, when I'm thinking about the days I used to run business and I used to fire people, hire people, I was a nervous wreck. I was a task master. Boom, 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 boom. I had a binder, like a time management system that I had 15 minutes. That was the maximum I could spend on a task, and I had to write 10 minutes I would do the task, and 5 minutes I had to write down what did I accomplish and how did this relate to my major goal. And looking back and I'm saying, did any of it matter? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. I would be better off if I fell in love with my wife, showed more love to my kids, more to the world, love humanity. That would be better. I help now. The irony of it is that I coach business people to be better business people, and they are really killing it. but when it comes to myself, I'm just in a very good place. I don't ever want to go back there.
Mm. That's beautiful. Aslan, this is amazing. I'm reaching the end of my saffron tea that I made prior to the show because where's your tea? You put cardamom in it too. Cheers.
I put carb. Yes, thank you. Cheers.
And
Oh,
you,
look at that. Our teacups are almost similar with these. You see that? It's only different color.
aha, it's meant to
Yours is
be.
purple and mine is white. That's synchronicity. Yeah.
It's a sign. Yeah. I wonder if it was written Aslan on the bottom, but it that didn't. So why do you drink this tea? You said it's an opiate?
As a saffron is a very good thing. It makes you first of all makes you happy. I don't need to be more happy, but I drink it anyway because I've got used to it. And it is so strong that if somebody overdose on this, you could die. You could overdose on saffron.
Really?
Yeah, it's called death by laughter. You can look it up in the internet or get your chat GTP to tell you about it. They used to punish the novelty, like not royalty. Uh, when if their punishment was that, they would not hang them or they would not shoot them. They would give them a high dose of saffron and they would laugh to death.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
If there's a death, I want that
How much
one.
saffron do you need to kill someone? Just kidding. No.
Oh,
Take it
quite
up.
a bit.
Like what? Like they will like feed them saffron? Ugh.
Maybe make it into a soup or mash it and then eat it and then you'll die.
I didn't put too much in my cup, right?
No, 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 no. I put 10 times that. Don't worry about it. No, no, no. But it is antidepressant. It's a very strong antidepressant. It used to be used by the naturopathic doctors as an
Do you actually like consume the strands themselves? But I mean, when you eat rice, I guess, but after you finish your tea, do you just leave it? You toss it?
I just suck it up and swallow it.
Oh, you swallow it. You actually eat it. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see you in person next time I'm in Canada or somewhere in the world. It's such a pleasure seeing you and your evolution and everything that you've been through. And you know what? I feel like we didn't even scrape the surface with you and everything you've been through.
Maybe there will be a second episode.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. You're always welcome here. And yeah, thank you.
I love you. Thank you so much,
Oh,
and
thank
good luck. And please give my best to
just
Stefan.
yeah.
And
Thank
and
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And thank you, listeners. Remember to live as if this is the last day of your life. Live as if you are going to live forever and don't ever lose hope. Whatever you are worried about today might not be important tomorrow. So make your life stellar now. This is Orion. Till next time.